this is Now What with Jeanna, and I am playing with some lighting. Um, I guess I could start by asking how y'all doing today. I'm doing good. I'm checking everything out, make sure everything's. I'm a little distracted because I want to make sure everything's working. And really exciting news for me, if not for you, but definitely for me, and that is that I think I got, and I've said this several times. So, actually, where's it at? I can't find my pointer. I think I got that chat thing figured out. I tested it earlier. It did work. So I'll ask a few times throughout the night. Hi, Adam. How you doing tonight? I'll ask a few times tonight if someone could say something in Facebook to see if the chat thing is working. I'm going to call it the chat thing. To see if the chat thing is working, because I'm excited to see if it's working. I'm eyeballing it though, because I want to see something. See it work. I want to see it work. So tonight's topic, I want to talk about resilience. If you had a chance to see, I posted a little bitty video earlier on the topic. It looks like it's on adversity, but it's actually on resilience. And it had a handful of words on adversity, and what adversity means. And I've been through my share of adversity. It's divorce, that's racism, that is poverty, all kinds of things like that. And yes, if you are like me, it is addiction. So adversity is the shit we go through. Before I move forward, I am going to say this is Now What with Jeanna, where I answer questions, offer tips, and say stupid shit that I'm going to later regret. I'm going to try not to say too much stupid shit tonight about sobriety and recovery, and sometimes my own life. So we'll see what happens. If you have a question, please let me know. You can go ahead and type it in the response. I can, depending on where you are, I'll be able to see everything. I still don't see anyone on Facebook, so I'll test that as soon as someone comes in. I hope. I'm really excited to get it working, though. It was really something very stupid. We'll get on to our topic in a minute. I'm just kind of holding a little bit. But it was really something very stupid, and that is when you post and you share to friends, or you share to public, or however you share. Well, it was set on share to friends on my account, and if it's set that way, it apparently doesn't show the chat. So, and I didn't know that, and it's such a tiny little thing, and I probably watched 20 different videos to figure out how to get that working. Spent all day. I think it was Friday after my Thursday chat, because I was determined to get this done. So I spent all day doing that, and anyways, we'll test it tonight and see if it works. Hopefully it does. And if so, I don't know. I'm just going to have like a little party here. A little party just to show myself my joy. I don't know. So anyways, tonight's topic is resilience. And we'll talk about what resilience is for a few minutes. And then I'd like to go ahead and tell you the qualities of a resilient person. I can't even talk. Tell you what the qualities of a resilient person is, and how you can build resilience if you don't already have it. So, if anyone has a question about their own resilience and adversity, go ahead and post it in. I will gladly answer your questions should they come along. All right, so I have a quote here. I've heard this several times in many different places. I actually love this quote. And I've heard it done a couple different ways, said a couple different ways. I don't know who said this quote. I have no idea. But she stood in the storm, and when the wind did not blow her down, she adjusted her sails. That's a perfect example of a resilience. You stand in face of the storm, and then you just adjust your sails to get what you need to get where you need to go. And that's resilience. So what does it mean to be resilient? It means to live through adversity, to stand in that storm, and then to bounce back afterwards. I have done that off and on my entire life, that bounce back. And so I think I'm pretty resilient. But I will talk about how I might not be resilient in a little bit. I'm not going to do that right yet. So some ways you can show resilience is by getting fired from a job and stepping right out into the, to the pavement and start searching for another job, not missing a beat. Another way is relapsing, but going to a meeting the following morning. And we see this all the time. People, not all the time. I mean, it's not like everyone's relapsing. It's crazy in here. Everyone's relapsing. No, it's not like that. But we do see it on a regular basis. And people are afraid to go back to a meeting after they relapse. But in reality, it's resilience that lets them do it. It's strength. It's courage. It's, I don't know. We'll see what it is. We can compare what it is later when I talk about the qualities of a resilient person. So, anyways, and losing a loved one. Resilience is losing a loved one and bouncing back after that. Now, I want to address this one because does that mean that you don't mourn? Someone who's resilient doesn't mourn? No, it actually means that they're in touch with themselves and their emotions, and they know that they need to mourn. And it doesn't mean that they don't take time in self-pity. They might take a little bit of time in self-pity, but it does mean that you're able to bounce back eventually and fall in love again, or have more children, or, get back on the job wagon, get back with the job and go ahead and work through those problems. That's being resilient. And resilience isn't the same for everyone. What one person can be resilient to something, and another person can be equally resilient. How did I say this? I said two people can be resilient and equally non-resilient at the same time about different things. So in other words, my house can burn down and I'm devastated, but I lose a job and it's no big deal. Okay, that's not equally resilient stuff, but really good job, hundreds of $1,000s, whatever. I'm equally, I'm resilient with one and not resilient with another. Why did I pick such a difficult word to say to talk about? Another person can be devastated by losing their job, except for when the house blows down, burns up. It's no big deal. So we're resilient about different things. Some people are resilient over physical trauma. Getting mugged down the street might not. It's all going to be a big deal, but it might not be as devastating to them as losing a job. So there's different things and different levels of resilience, depending on what has happened to you and how you've dealt with some things before too. The more you deal with the same situation over and over again, the more resilient you're going to be to that situation because you've already done it. You know what it means to have to pick your feet back up in that way again. So, and for those of us who drink, resilience is an important skill to have because you will make mistakes in sobriety and in in your addiction if you're still there. Some of us will relapse, and you will face adversity while trying to get sober. So I thought I would talk real quickly. Oh, that's better. I have lights glaring on that, but I can't see the screen. I thought I would talk real quickly about my experience with adversity after, and actually just a tad bit before, right prior to getting sober. My son had passed away, and actually, I think that's what saved my life. I went deep into my alcohol for about 7 months, and then I popped out of it real quick, and haven't drank since. 7 months though, and the reason I'm bringing that up is 7 months is not enough time to mourn. It wasn't for me. I still 3 years later. Actually, it'll be 4 years this next month. Later, I still cry. I probably always will cry over him from time to time. But in the middle of getting sober, I was still dealing with his death, with feeling that loss and that grief in the middle of getting sober. And I was still able to do it. After getting sober, shortly after, my dad got really sick, and I lived with them and helped take care of him and some of his needs and some of mom's needs that she couldn't do because, she was taking care of him. And so there was more adversity. There was that's it's called caregivers depression, I think it is, that we were dealing with. High Sniffin. Skinnifin. Hi, thanks for joining me. This is Jeanna with Now What with Jeanna. So anyways, I had my son's adversity. I had my dad being sick and the caregivers depression that we were dealing with. I wasn't dealing with the depression so much, but there's still a struggle, and that's adversity. And then last year my dad died. Hold on a second. So last year my dad died, and that was more adversity. And the reason I'm telling you, hey, Sarah. Oh, hi, Sarah. I will have to check you out afterwards. I may have been seeing you or talking to you, but the names I don't get. I don't connect right. I would blame it on alcohol, but that didn't do it. That isn't what it is. I've had trouble with names. I used to teach. I'm so skipping out of here. I used to teach, and my students never knew how I got their names right. And it's because I found one thing that I could identify them with almost immediately. And I wrote it right next to their name, on the roll sheet. And so they never knew. They said, "You're so good with names." I go, "No, I got my cheat sheet right here." One girl always wore a John Deere hat, and I knew for some reason, I just knew she would wear that John Deere hat throughout the semester. So I put on that sheet, John Deere. So lucky I didn't call her John Deere through that. All right. So anyways, we're moving back. I dealt with a lot of adversity in sobriety. Some people are able to make it through without relapsing. Some people just aren't. And if that happens, if you have resilience, if you're able to bounce back, you're going to have a much easier time. So it's really important to have resilience. It may be the difference between relapsing and staying in your relapse for a couple days versus relapsing and staying in your relapse for a couple years, 10 years. I have not. It's not unusual for that to happen. I've seen it happen. Oh, yep. See, yeah, that is just a really good tool. It works all the time. The fun students were the ones that you could remember by the smell of marijuana. That was kind of fun. Anyways, yeah, I had several that it was in California, and we were up in the hills, and their parents and families grew marijuana in the hills, and they would come into class smelling really, really, really strong. And yeah, that was how I remembered a few of my students. So hello, Andrea. Glad you joined. I am so thrilled to see you here. We are talking resilience tonight, what it means to be resilient. I'm going to talk about how you can earn resilience. I don't know. Learn resilience. That's what I'm going to talk about. And in case you're just jumping in here and you're not sure what that has to do with anything, resilience is being able to bounce back after bad things happen. By the way, we are all in a situation right now with the pandemic. So that's adversity in our faces. We're all dealing with it. And some of us are able to bounce back and some of us are not. Businesses have to be able to bounce back. Otherwise, they're going to crash. There's even the resilience of our physical health. The people who get COVID and are able to, come out of it, they're physically resilient. So anyways, that's what we're talking about today. I'm going to move on to say that there are the 7 C's of resilience. I don't know if it'll make it easier to remember this or not, or harder or what. I don't know. There's 7 of them. That's a lot. But this was developed by Ken Ginsberg. He was a pediatrician. And so he created this model of resilience. And these are the traits that a resilient person has, and the 7 C's. I'm stuttering so much. And I said that resilience and adversity, all those hard words might be difficult for me to say. Let's see how I can come up with 7 C's. So the first one is competence. How competent are you? When you face adversity, when you have a problem, how able are you to come up with solutions to that problem? A person who has resilience has a lot of competence, a lot of ability to solve situations on their own, which leads to, and it literally leads to, confidence. A person who is competent and capable of doing those things does so because they're competent. Confident. See, I told you I'd have trouble with that. they're able to make those adjustments to their life, to their actions, to their decisions, because they are confident. And then that confident leads back to competence. I don't know if you've paid attention to your own, maybe your own actions, but when you're confident, you take bigger chances. You take risks on decisions and choices that look like competence, but really it's confidence. But then once you take those risks and those chances and see that it can be done, you go to competence. I don't know. I'm getting really confused, but I know what I'm talking about, even if you don't. So, anyways, the next one is connection. If you have the ability to find and make connections, you're probably resilient. Hi. Sarah, your name was hard, but this one's different. Liar Chilaveria. 547. Join. Hi, welcome to Now What with Jeanna. I would love a first name if you got one, because I can't call you that. That's tough. There's a lot of vowels in your name. Anyway, so one of the traits of a resilient person is the ability to connect with people. I've got a tickle in my throat. I had no ability to connect with people. None. And I could talk to people till I'm blue in the face, and I could be friendly and fun, and but to connect on a one-on-one, that was very difficult for me. It still is difficult for me at times. A resilient person has the ability to connect. A resilient person has good character. They have close ties to family, friends. Nope, that's not one. They understand their value system. That didn't make sense. They understand their value system. They understand right from wrong, and they act and behave in ways that show that. Oh, wait, guys, guess what? I got a comment on Facebook. So it is working. It is work. I'm so excited. I said at the beginning of the show, if the comments work on Facebook, I'm going to throw a party. So here we go. There you go. The comment was was my love, Vincent, saying, "Hey girl." He said something else, but he said, "Hey girl." It's the ticker tape parade. He always it's like our thing. We got to give each other ticker tape parades. So anyway, so a resilient person displays character. They understand right from wrong, and I'm just still so excited because the Facebook works. And they behave in the right way. A resilient person will contribute to the situation, to the community around them. We have, sponsors that within AA, you can become a sponsor and help other people. That's contribution. And I can see very much how the people who are doing that are building resilience. They're getting more and more comfortable. Maybe they get more and more comfortable with sponsoring people as time goes on. At first I hear it all the time. I'm not ready to sponsor. I'm not ready to sponsor. And at first they may not be, but once you go in there and you start practicing, that resilience builds up, and you learn how to contribute. So people are resilient, have the trait of contribution, whether it's at school, going in and helping with school. We're in the South where hurricanes happen, and this happens all the time. Not all the time, but our last hurricane, we saw it, and the one before that, I didn't see it because I was still in California, but I'd heard stories of people going from here to Katrina to help out, and that is a wonderful display of resilience, or a resilient trait in people. I'm slipping. We got two more. Coping. A resilient person has the ability to cope. They can cope with stress. They can cope with their emotions and their pain. And I don't mean so much physical pain, although they might be able to do that. And I didn't put this in my notes, but there's 4 types of resilience. There's a physical resilience, an emotion resilience, a community, I think, resilience, and there's another one that I can't remember. I didn't put those in my notes, so I'm not going to go into detail on that. But that emotional resilience involves coping, the ability to cope, and then the physical is going to involve the ability to endure pain. So, anyways, I think I'm pretty good at that enduring pain sometimes. I don't know. It depends. If it's a little pain, I can't do it. If it's a big pain, physical pain, I have cut myself and then not known I'd done it. We do that all the time, but it's other things like that. I gave birth without any medications or, it was totally natural. So I would assume I have a resilience to pain. And then the last one is control. People who know the difference between what they can control and what they can't control. And then this helps them to stay out of the victim mindset, which actually pushes back to that competence. When you are not in the victim mindset, you are willing to take chances. You are willing to look for answers and to solve problems and to be competent. So it kind of does this full circle idea. So, and there's a control, like you're controlling your situation. I'm scared to say this. I know I like ran through this in my head several times prior to coming on, because, we say in AA that we have no control. And the truth is we have no control over alcohol, but we do have control over other things. A resilient person understands what they can and can't control, and then they take action and they do things to work through that. So all this got me thinking, am I resilient? I always thought I was. I've bounced back out of several situations, but when I was drinking, I did not have any confidence. I started out having confidence, but after a while, I didn't have any confidence. I didn't have any competence. I wasn't solving my own problems. I was wallowing in my own problems. My connections, I had isolated from everyone, including my family. So there was no connections. My character, oh my God, I was making decisions that were so outside of my values. People, hi, Vince. I won't repeat that one statement. It's a good one, guys. It's a good one. I just feel like a little wishy-washy doing it right now. But anyway, so I had no connection with people. I was avoiding them so I could drink. They were avoiding me because I was just out of control. I think I've skipped around. I didn't contribute to my community at all. I did the best I could to just kind of hide so I can drink. I coped with my stress using two methods. One is I drank. I coped with my stress through alcohol, and the other one is I coped with my stress by avoiding the situations. I drank to avoid the situations, but I also ran from the situations. If I knew my mom was going to be mad at me, it's a full-grown adult doing this, but if I knew my mom was mad at me, I avoided her. If I knew my kids were going to be mad at me, I avoided them. If I knew a friend was going to be, I avoided them. I didn't, you could just not see from me or hear from me for 3 or 4 months because I was avoiding having to cope with you. That sounds bad. Having to deal with a situation, cope with a situation that was causing me stress. So, and I whined so much. I was such a victim in my drinking. Rather than getting help, I sat around praying that my mom would force help. That's what I wanted. My mom would force help. She would admit me into a mental institution. And where that comes with is control. I didn't feel I had the ability. I didn't feel I had the competence to get help, the ability to get help. I didn't know how to cope. I didn't have any control over my situations. I did, but I didn't think I did. And I was not being very resilient. However, in other situations I can be. Just right at that time, I was not being resilient at all. No, Vince, I'm not avoiding you. I don't know if you can even hear me. So I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. So I'm not avoiding you. Anyways. Do you avoid me? Vince just asked if I avoid him. And I was thinking he was not hearing me answer to the thing. And so I'm like, I'm not avoiding you. Why are you saying that? I'm talking to you, but He's talking about what I just said about avoidance, coping with stressful situations. All right, I'm going to get back on track here. Resilience. So while I wasn't being very resilient in my drinking, I think I've done a good job being resilient after. As soon as I got sober, I jumped back in and started taking control of my situation. Again, remember, I'm afraid, I'm nervous to say that, but I started taking control of my situation. I started doing things that would get me healthy, heal me up here, as well as, down here in my heart and my emotions. And I was very proactive. And so in some senses, I think I just wasn't during those 10 years. I was too busy being poor me. All right. So resilience can be learned. You can learn it right now. So I would tell you, if you want to learn resilience, if you want to be able to overcome anything, if you are afraid that you'll relapse and not be able to handle it, start practicing these skills today, these things today. So the first thing is to develop self-awareness. Know your body, know your emotions, know your motives for doing things. That self-awareness will help you to be resilient. You want to know your strengths and weaknesses. Here's my strength. I can say no to alcohol. I can say that's my strength. Here's my weakness. If I've had one drink of alcohol, I can't say no to alcohol. So, that aspect of know your strengths. Which one? Okay, I can't do this. If I drink one drink, I won't be able to stop. If I don't drink at all, I have full control. I think. I haven't tested it too much. So, but so far I've done pretty good. So that's my strengths and my weaknesses. Develop that self-awareness. The more you know you, which I have a quote on that a little bit, but the more in a little bit, but the more you know you, the more you will be able to make decisions that help you to stay sober, decisions to help you bounce back. You'll know, actually, you might even know what situations and environments to avoid because they're not good for you. Know your strengths, develop that self-awareness. Identify your emotional boundaries. I don't know if I want to say it that way. Identify your emotional boundaries. It says, know when you need help. This idea that it's not coming out right, but there are times with our emotions that we need to reach out for help. That's what I'm trying to get to, that emotional boundary. At some point, I'm going to have an emotional boundary, at which I don't like the word boundary in this, in which I'm going to have to reach out for help. I need to know where that hits and when I need to reach out for help so that I can go ahead and do that. That's what I'm trying to get to in all this craziness of me. The word boundaries kind of screwed me up there. All right. Build self-regulation skills. Learn how to manage and overcome stressful situations without the help of outside factors, i.e. alcohol, volume, or, I don't even know what volume does, but I do know what Xanax does. I liked it too much. So anyways, building self-regulation is learning how to manage and overcome stressful situations without the help of outside factors or drugs or avoidance or shopping or gambling or any of those things we use to handle our emotions and all that stuff. And you can do this, build the self-regulation skills. You can do this through meditation. You can do it through practicing mindfulness, through breathing. I did a couple weeks ago. Was it a couple weeks ago? I did 4 square breathing. No, I think it wasn't one of my dry January tips. I did 4 square breathing. I called it 4 rectangle breathing because I changed my numbers up, my counts up. What that is, you can do this right in the grocery store, and this will help you build the self-regulation skills that help you with resilience. And that is, you breathe in for a count of, say, 3. And you can pick how many you want to do. If you want to be real brave and breathe in for a count of 7, go for it. But I can't do it. 3 is good for me. 4 is good for me. So breathe in for a count of 3, hold for a count of 3, breathe out for a count of 3, hold for a count of 3. And you do a couple rounds of that. It's 4 squared breathing. It's 4 counts of, in, out, in, hold, out, out, hold, in, hold. There you go. You to pause and take a minute to think about what the right decision for you is, and then help you build resilience. You practice that once in a while. Practice positive thinking. Believe that good things can come from adversity. You know, if you are always thinking the negative, oh, I can't change this. Oh, I'm not smart enough. I won't ever learn how to do, this. And wow, this just happened and my world is over. Well, you're not ever going to do anything to change what happened, to fix or to repair the damage of what happened. If you're in a not negative state of mind, then why bother fixing it? Because it's just not. So be in a positive state of mind, practice positive thinking, believe that good things can come from adversity. This is like a mantra for me. That is that if I haven't learned from my mistakes, I've missed a great opportunity. If I haven't learned from adversity, it's the same thing. I've missed a great opportunity. So this went terribly wrong. What can I do different next time? And how can I learn from this? This is what resilient people do. And even when I was drinking, I held on to that one. It was so important for me to do, even though I wasn't living that way. I was still thinking I was. All right. And our minds play crazy tricks on us. So the next one is focus on the things you can control. I've talked about this a lot with the Serenity Prayer. It helps me identify what I can control, helps me identify what I can't control. I let those things go that I can't control, but what I can control, what I can do to make change and to help my situation or other people's situation, I do those things. I focus on those things. I do not focus on things that are just out of my control. It does no good. If I can't control it, then why invest that energy and that time to try? And then the last one I got for you today, and we are almost done, is to connect to a community. And I have done that through my group on Facebook. On Facebook. Through my group with AA. I've actually got a good community going and started up here on Facebook. The Facebook Now Sober group is going. And so, I've got a community and we have them here available for you as well. So connect to a community. These are people that you can turn to, ask for help. You can talk with when you need to. Go out for a cup of coffee. It's just so hard for me. And in fact, it's still hard for me. I still don't. I'm starting to do things with people in my community, outside of my community, outside of, some situations, but it is difficult. But a resilient person will do that. And if you want to practice and learn how to be resilient, start practicing there. Maybe that's one of the things you can do. Practice reaching out and being part of a community. So the last thing, that's not the last thing. I said earlier that I had a quote that I wanted to share with you guys. Oh, these glasses drive me nuts. Quote that I wanted to share with you guys, and that is, adversity has the remarkable ability of introducing the real you to yourself. Adversity has the remarkable ability of introducing the real you to yourself. When you see what you can do, when you see what you can go through and bounce out and recover from, you learn really who you are. When you see what you can't do, when you see how much you struggle on certain things, again, you learn who you really are. So adversity has the remarkable ability of introducing the real you to yourself. Okay, so we are almost done. I was gonna say I've got the last thing, but I don't. I have two suggestions, two recommendations for you guys. The first one is Brene Brown's Rising Strong: How the Ability to Reset Transforms the Way You Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. Now, I'm going to be honest, I have not read this particular book. I got it as a recommendation on the idea of resilience. So I'm going to let you know that. But I'm throwing out there in case you'd like to read up on it. Brene Brown, I have read several of her books, just not this one. And she's easy to read, and I have learned so much from her books. The one I got right now that I'm looking at is Daring Greatly, and there's another one I have that I've read, and I have learned so much from her. So check that out if you're interested in reading a book on resilience. If you want to learn how to build your own resilience, check out Brene Brown's book. The other one, and that's, by the way, that's Brene, not Renee. Brene Brown, Brown. I don't know if there's I think there's an E at the end. I can't see my book from this far because I can't see because I'm blind. The other thing I wanted to share is probably one of my favorite movies on resilience, and that is Unbroken, a World War II story of survival and resilience. This movie, I went, first time I saw it, I went with my mom to the theater and saw it, and we just bawled and we bawled and we bawled. This is resilience, like the ultimate resilience. He's a POW in Japan, and his particular adversary doesn't like him, and is just really, really tough, and this guy just doesn't give up. So check that out. It's a great, 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 great movie. And I think that's about it, except I want to let you know how things are going with Now Sober Academy. If you don't know what Now Sober Academy is, it is a program Vince and I are building to help with recovery, both on the family end and on, with those of us struggling with addiction. And we'll have, it's a membership site, and we'll have classes and lives and discussion boards, and we're gonna, we're gonna have that. Those are the things that we're gonna have, like a once a month introduce a course and a topic on a topic, and the Q&As we're gonna have, and the discussion boards we're gonna have. So that's a given. We're gonna do those. But we're also probably, as things go by, play with things, put something in, see how it works. If it doesn't work, pull it out, put something else in. So it's going to change a little bit, but those three core things are in. They're solid. They're locked in. And then watch, something changes. I can't see doing a membership on this topic without those three core things. So they're pretty much locked in. But so that's Now Sober Academy. You can learn about it by going to nowsobercoach.com. Go check out that website. I'm working on it. We're still there. But we're really excited about rolling this out. So anyways, keep an eye out for it, and I will chat with you later. I think that's it. My chat worked. That's pretty awesome. And I've talked so much, I'm thirsty. All right, you guys have a wonderful night. We will see you next week. If you have a topic that you'd like me to talk about, please go ahead and ask in the, you can ask in the comments. You can message me personally. Just let me know what the question is. I love the questions because it helps me to know, I can prepare much easier if I stop worrying about what I want the topic to be. So I welcome your questions. And I guess that's it. All right. Thanks. You have a wonderful night, and we will see you next time. Bye. And then now I got to turn off things. There.